So the other type of curve. Let's assume, Bella, that this is kind of like disappointing. It's kind of like what parents do when they give crappy gifts to children. Let's pretend this is a lizard. Okay. I'll add some subdivisions. You'll see why. I'll do simple subdivisions. And I apply them. Okay. So what we did before is that we had a curve. Which can be any type of curve, right? I add a curve that is a path. So simple curve there. I'll just make it larger. And the curve like the object is attached to the curve through a constraint, right? But you can also attach or connect the object to the curve as a modifier, which is called a deformed curve modifier. So that is a property of the object that you want to animate. The curve object, then I'm gonna set it to nurse path, moving on the x-axis, and so far kind of not particularly exciting, right? But if I move the object will be deformed along the path, but for that I need to animate the path, so I'll take a point of the path there. Okay, nice. And then I check the object and I move it on the x-axis, and the object is moving. And this is why I remember the lizzard. Yes, it's an accordion. This deforms the object, right? So if you have like a snake or something like that, or any kind of object that you would like to be a bit deformed by the curve, one of the things that you can do is use the curve modifier. Just like before, you can adjust the objects, like, I don't know, connect it to some other things. I don't have the function here, but I don't know, I could turn this into a cyclical curve. Right click. And make cyclical at least down, toggle cyclic. Yeah, it's kind of like psychic, but not. And this thing, the weird thing that's kind of abstract to understand though, is that it works by, you just need to move the object in one axis, which is the x-axis. It gives you a bit more control for stuff like, I don't know, it's doing here this, and it slowly moves up and then falls. It's kind of nice. So that one for the lizard might be very good. Other things with curves that you haven't, curves are quite powerful in many aspects, but there is again this relation between the curve and the object. But curves have this weird thing that you can enable simulations on curves. Great for spaghetti. Like if I set this curve, I take the curve and I go into the physics tab, you can enable a soft body on the curve. So I press soft body and I take out gold and edges, and then I enable self collision, and then I take out the surface and I say that is a collision object, and then I press play. The curve will fall, and this is not a very complicated curve because it only has it has very few vertices. So I can, if I wanted to, I could just check out this whole things and subdivide. and apply the subdivision. No, that subdivision should be okay. And that should be, oh my, that's a sign. I subdivided with a previously made shape. But you can mix simulations with, like, there's now a distance between the cube and the curve, but you can make a lot of like interesting stuff with the curves themselves. As usual, I mean, as always, you can also make the curve have some depth. So again, good for spaghetti. I didn't intend to do that. I'm sure it's a sign. You know what is a good thing to animate with curves? It's a tiny obsession of mine though, but have you ever seen, like, when you see flies? Hi Julia, I saw your email. When you see flies moving around space, that they sort of like you have like 3 flies that they make a motion. How do they move? You never wondered, like sometimes they do like, do you ever wonder if they're trying to tell you something? Like if you see the motion, they say, help me, or like SOS, slowly. That would be a fine scientific discovery. Okay, super nice. So I'm very happy out of this. The projection in the 711 is probably a bit skewed, right? That's because it's a Blender issue, but projections need subdivisions. If you like make more subdivisions in the object, they don't have to be soft, right? They can be linear subdivisions. The projection is gonna be fixed. Although I have to say, I kind of, in this case, kind of like how it works. Probably because I like 711.